I never wanted to be an entrepreneur. Like my grandmother was an entrepreneur, and I was like, she was just stressed, and I've heard all these stories about her, and I was like, I just don't want to do that. I need something a little bit more stable, and of course, I had the entrepreneurship bug. But the real moment was when I started getting like 4 and 5 figure deals while I was in law school, and I was like, okay,
Wow.
we're on to something here.
Today on the Freelance Mindset Studio podcast, I am so excited because we are joined by Kameron Monet. Kameron is a lawyer, she's a content creator, and she is now, last but not least, a tech founder of a company called Social Docket, which is helping creators with their legal needs. Kameron, thank you so much for joining. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to get into the conversation.
Yay! Amazing. So, to kick things off, you have an incredible career with so many different aspects to it, but I know that the journey probably didn't always start this way. So, I was wondering if you could take us all the way back to the beginning when you were in college and thinking about what would be next for you after graduation. What did life and your career vision look like at that time?
Yes, this question is probably one of my favorites because I love showing other people that there are so many different ways to get to your success journey. I don't think it's a destination. I think the journey in itself is like the level of success. For me, I never wanted to be a lawyer. I didn't even think about law school in college. I was just taking the general ed courses, and I had a college advisor that was like, you should try pre law. And I was like, sir, why would you tell me that? He's like, you're smart, you like to read, you like to write, and you have a theater background. And for me, at first, I couldn't connect the dots with that. But I listened to him. He was a lawyer. So I was like, okay, let me just go to a mock trial class and see how I like it. And I went and I really enjoyed it. And I can see the connection between being on stage when it came to plays and then also being like in the courtroom. So I was like, okay, I'll go, I'll apply, I'll see if I get in. And also during that time, I was starting my YouTube journey. So I was filming and I was editing and learning about what this whole creator economy as we know it now is back in 2014. So being able to be there early on, like having this creative endeavor, but also starting to get into the legal journey and learning about the law and those coming together was the perfect mix that I didn't know I needed.
It's amazing. And I think a lot of people don't realize that how many aspects of law are actually a bit theatrical, honestly. Yes, the courtroom is high drama, and there's a lot of TV shows about it, but there's also drama in a negotiation
Mm-hmm.
with a contract, with a client, with an M&A. So that's really great that you had an advisor point that out to you early on. I think that's one of the things that really appeals to me about law as well. I did not realize you had started your content journey in college. So that was, I think, before we had influencers the way we do today, what motivated you at that time to start, learning YouTube and putting yourself out there?
Honestly, I was always creative and I wanted to find a way to have an outlet and I wasn't sure what that looked like. And I fell into, like everyone else, just watching a lot of YouTube videos with beauty content and hair and fashion and makeup and just in that time of my life when it's like you're trying to evolve into a woman and an adult. So I was just so excited to be able to have access to people all over the world with the internet because I'm a millennial, so I didn't always have all these things that we have now with the internet and phones and all this. So I was right on that cusp of like getting to experience that for the first time, and I would change my hair a lot. Like I just loved like changing my hair and doing my makeup, and it wasn't that great. But for some reason, I had college friends and people just asked me like, "You should just start a YouTube channel because we are asking you all these questions and we just want to watch the videos." So it started there, just in my dorm room, creating hair and makeup videos, and then it turned into like vlogs.
Yeah, so it was demand led. It came from the market and you had an
Yep,
interest and it grew from there.
I love that.
So you then had an advisor tell you you should check out law, and it turned out to be a bit of a fit. You started applying to law school. What was that decision point of actually going to law school like?
Yeah, so as soon as I made the decision, I was like, I have no idea what a law firm even looks like from the inside. I had this assumption, and we all watched the shows, and like, I thought that's what it was going to be like, but realistically, I was like, it's probably not. So I need to get some type of experience or access. So I started applying to internships. So got my first internship also, like, not too long after having that conversation with my advisor, just to get some insight on what it looks like. So I started off as an intern. They ended up offering me a legal position for a legal assistant. Then I became a paralegal. I was a receptionist. I wanted to get all of the experience that I could before committing to law school. And then I was like, I'm just going to apply. If I get in, great. If I don't, also great, because I don't even know what I'm doing. And then I happened to get in, which was amazing and ended up changing my life.
That was really smart to get that informed decision before you go to law school. It's a big chunk of time, it's a big chunk of
Mm-hmm.
money, and a lot of people don't really know what life as a lawyer looks like on the other side. So you got that intel before you went to law school. So then
Yes.
you went to law school and you were continuing, I assume, your content creation on the side. What was that
Hmm.
like during law school? Was it common when you were in school?
Extremely uncommon. My first year of law school was 2016. Admittedly, when I first started law school, I was like, I have to stop. Like, I can't post online. Like, they're gonna judge me. I just have to be the serious law student. And that lasted like a semester and some change. And because I was like, wait a minute, like I'm gonna go crazy if I have no creative outlet.
Yeah.
So I was like, I have to find a way to integrate it into my law school life because that's my priority. For me, I love seeing so many students now sharing their raw, real experience in law school, but they were sharing more than I did because I didn't have the time. I was like, I have
Yeah.
to study. So finding
Yeah.
that balance was interesting, but I loved the journey. So I just propped up my camera in classes. Like a lot of those videos are still up. A lot of people still refer to those videos, and I was the only one in class with my camera up,
What?
sharing about this is what it looks like to be in law school. This is how I prepared. This is what the LSAT is because I didn't have that experience with one-on-one with someone that really one looked like me. So the representation was so important, being a Black woman, but also just someone kind of in the same age range because a lot of times when I was doing like my research before law school, when I was nervous and scared, I
Yeah.
would read articles or like get connected with other lawyers, but I wanted someone that was like right boots on the ground to give that information. So I was like, I'll just do it and share as much as I can.
Amazing. Did you get any kind of pushback or resistance when you were filming in class? I know what my classes were like, and I think I would have been really nervous to pull out a camera, but I'm still nervous now, and I have a very different career.
Yeah, so I definitely learned quick like which professors were a little bit more laid back, and also I was very open. And some of it's like it's so interesting because it also plays a role in now my tech journey of being a little naive can work in your favor sometimes because I just didn't know it wasn't a thing. I just had been vlogging at that point for a couple of years because I started in 2014 with the Lost in 2016. So for me, it felt like very natural to just share my experience with a camera. Also, even taking it back to my childhood, I had like a camcorder. So I was already used to people looking at me crazy with a camera. But so I was like, hey, this ain't nothing. I've dealt with this all my life. But I think it's also like professors were curious. So I would just explain to them, oh, I have this YouTube channel. I share tips and tricks about my experience in law school in order to give them exposure and hopefully they apply as well. So I just told them organically why I was doing it. And I think that really helped the conversation. But also, I tried to be low key about it. I wasn't like vlogging up here and things like that. So I do think there's a time and a place to have the what it looks like when it comes to filming as well.
Mm. At what point did you start to consider content creation as part of your career, as opposed to, I think, something that was more of a creative outlet?
Oh, great question. There were a couple touch points. The first one was in college when I got my first YouTube check. So back then you could just turn on a button for
Yeah.
monetization. I had no idea. I was watching some YouTube videos and one of the YouTubers, they were starting to kind of share, oh, we make money. I had no idea. Most people didn't at that time. And only a few people were talking about it. And she was like, yeah, go to your settings and go to monetization and toggle it on. And I'm like, there's no way I have a toggle to turn on. And I've been doing these videos for free, right? So it was like $100 and something dollars. And I was like, oh my God, I'm in college, grocery money. I'm excited. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is so great. So that was like my first little taste where I was like, okay, I can make money from this as like a side hustle. Fun fact, I never wanted to be an entrepreneur. Like my grandmother was an entrepreneur and I was like, she was just stressed. And I've heard all these stories about her. And I was like, I just don't want to do that. I need something a little bit more stable. And of course, I had the entrepreneurship bug. But the real moment was when I started getting like 4 and 5 figure deals while I was in law school. And I was like, okay, we're on to something here.
Yeah. Congrats. That's
Thanks.
impressive.
Thank
Incredible.
you.
But I know that after law school, you went to a law firm. What was
Mhm.
that decision? I mean, you could have doubled down on content at that point.
I think it was still that a little bit of resistance to entrepreneurship, but also just I don't know what happens in law school, and I'm sure so many others can relate to this. 3 years in this bubble, you're truly in like this bubble where your whole life is like revolved around this career path, and as it should be to an extent. But then when you graduate, you realize, wait a minute, like what just happened? I was in like this time warp. But during that time, it was like I have this creative outlet I love, but like this is just something I like. Like I can't love my job. Like I need to just get to the money. I need to just make a good income and become an attorney at a law firm. Like that's what law school culture kind of tells you. Like get the law firm job, you'll be fine. Climb the corporate ladder, become partner, become a board member, shareholder, retire. You got this. And then like it really gets ingrained in your head. And for me, that's I was like, great. I'm just surprised I'm in law school, let alone passing, let alone making dean's list, all these opportunities. And I worked at the law firm. I got the opportunity to work with them while I was in law school as well, my second and third year. So I was already kind of like integrated in the culture. I truly enjoyed the work. So I was like, oh, I can still do my YouTube thing that I like, make a little bit more money than I was like, hey, I can save this, I can travel when I graduate. And then I can also fulfill this associate attorney at XYZ firm. So I worked in employment litigation on the plaintiff side, which was great. But then it started to become a little bit of a harder balance than I expected. I always heard the stories of like, oh, it takes so many hours, like especially your first year. And I'm like, oh, okay, like I'm a hustler, I can do this. But then it was like, no, 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 no. Like it's gonna take hours and hours and hours, and YouTube was picking up as well. So it was
Yeah.
definitely starting to become difficult, and I tried to delegate as much as I could, but it's still a challenge.
Amazing. So, did there come a point where you had to choose either a law firm, or I don't know if the other path was content creation or entrepreneurship more broadly? How was that decision made?
Yeah, so I graduated for context. I graduated law school in 2019. So I feel like we always say like we were the last regular class and got the full experience and all the things until things just took a turn in 2020. It was a benefit and a curse because the benefit was I got that real law firm experience. The curse was how quickly we got into 2020 when things just
Mm,
shifted. But right after that was another benefit of me realizing, wait a minute, like I kind of got a taste of full-time content creation without knowing it because now we're working from home. There's more flexibility. We worked in employment law. People weren't at work, so we were kind of doing some other things. So it was definitely a different experience. But then I also signed like one of my largest deals during that time. It was this complex situation of like the world is going crazy, but now everyone's online and people are blowing up on TikTok, everyday people, where now the idea of being an influencer and a content creator, people were opening their minds. It was getting a little
yeah.
bit more respect, a little bit more mature as far as the industry growing and people sharing how much they're making. And I was like, maybe I could do this. And I still knew I was going to do something outside of that because I was reviewing my own contracts during this time. I was helping my friends with their contracts. But the moment, there was lots of moments, but the main moment that really came to a head was, oh my goodness, somebody asked me that wasn't a friend how much I charge for contracts. And I was like, oh my
Yeah.
God, I can still use my law degree because I still love having it, but I also
Yeah.
can be really heavily in the creator economy.
Oh, wow. That must have been a beautiful moment because then you realized that you kind of have it all in a sense that you got to be a lawyer, you got to do your creative piece, you got to help your friends and work on your own schedule. And then I think the entrepreneurship bug had finally kicked in.
Yes, and it was scary, you know. Now hindsight's 2020, but it was scary. It was are you sure you want to do this? And I didn't
Yeah.
see a lot of lawyers like leave that early in your first like after a year and then go do something extremely non-traditional how it felt. But then kind of like the moment we mentioned earlier where when you leave law school you kind of open up, you're like, wait a minute, like there's all these other ways to utilize your JD. There's so many opportunities. The education is so valuable even if you're not connected to a law firm. And that was something that I was learning by going through it. Like, oh my goodness, like, wait a minute, like working at a law firm doesn't define me as a lawyer and attorney. Like, I'm still a lawyer and attorney. I'm still a licensed attorney, even if I'm not working in a certain type of context.
Yeah. And I had a similar moment where I left the law and I did something totally different. And I remember that being a very isolating experience because it was just hard to find community of someone else who's doing the same thing as you. How did you go about that piece of it?
I really leaned into my community online. So
Mm.
I think we all have so many like unique privileges. And one of mine has been my online community. I have been still posting since 2014, so many different journeys as I'm sharing now with
Yeah.
college and law school and entrepreneurship and figuring it all out pretty publicly. With, of course, some guardrails. Got to keep some stuff private. But I love that I can meet so many people that are like, I remember watching you in college. Like, I remember when you got your bar exam results and I shared that video and things like that. Like that's it's such
Yeah.
a beautiful moment because I go back and look at those videos. So sometimes it's yes, it's your in real life community and I have amazing friends and family and other creator friends that really, really help having people that understand the nuances of that. But just seeing yourself in another setting like 5 years ago and being like, if only you knew how easy it would be now, like you can actually do this. And no one knows what they're doing in any industry, really.
That is so true. From a distance, it looks like everyone has it figured out and nobody knows.
Exactly.
So now you are the founder of a company called Social Docket. You are also still creating. Are you also practicing law?
So I was kind of dipping and dabbing when I first quit because again I was like I have to be like a regular lawyer and I don't know what how else I would introduce myself. I had this thing that I talk about a lot about this elevator speech that I was like, how do I introduce myself? That was like the hardest part, which was so weird to me. Like yes, there were other things and I was like in my head, but it was like how do I introduce myself? So I challenged myself, okay, one, only think about quitting for 1 year. So that really helped me. I'm like, you have 1 year to quit. Do whatever you want to do. If you want to try different areas of law, if you want to do some contract work, do what you want to do to learn, and then work on that elevator speech. And that really helped me realize what I actually wanted to do. And I was like, wait a minute, I actually like entrepreneurship. I like being multifaceted. I like being able to introduce myself as so many different things and based on my skill set and not a job title. And I really like that, and which is why I carried on. So I keep my license because I have this theory that there's going to be a case that I want to be a part of. So I do keep my license. But I realized my best way to help my content creator colleagues, especially once I started to make money from it, was to have a little bit more jurisdiction freedom. And I just really tweaked that over the years to make sure that it's like, I'm really your contract specialist. I'm guiding you from the inside out. I'm here walking the journey with you as kind of like a business coach because I'm also a creator. So that was
Mhm.
kind of that nuance area that I started to cultivate over the years. But then I reached a point where Social Docket comes in where you have to scale. If you want to make a long term goal, especially when you're an entrepreneur, you want to make more money. You want to be able to do less and make more and all those things. And I was like, okay, I'm at another fork in the road, just like I was 5 years prior when I was at the law firm, where I'm going to either have to hire someone to help me with the hundreds of creators I was helping because it was like I'm going to reach burnout, and for me, wellness is number one priority. Or I can create a software, and that's really where it came up.
Amazing. So what does Social Docket do?
Yes, so Social Docket is, I get so excited talking about it because still, I can't believe I'm even in the tech industry, but I'm absolutely loving the journey. So Social Docket is an AI powered modern legal infrastructure for the creator economy. Our main focus are twofold. It's your deal workflow as a content creator, but also contract intelligence to make sure that you understand what you're signing, why you're signing it, so you can advocate for yourself in the best abilities possible. So that's generally what Social Docket does. Our main goal and our strong why is to help creators advocate for themselves. Because 9 times out of 10, they fit in a few different buckets. One, they hire lawyers and they're too expensive, they're slower, or they don't really understand the nuances of the creator economy. We all have experience getting on Instagram and it's a new feature and it's like, what is this thing? But being in the creator economy, we have to be aware of those things. So we're hiring others, whether it's a lawyer or a consultant, etc. We want them to understand those intricate details. An even better way to understand this is the best personal injury attorney has driven a car. And I know that sounds like obvious, but
Mhm.
it's the way that you can communicate with your clients. It's the way that you can capture their emotions and bring them to the best results is by being in the situation yourself. So that's how I look at myself as like the best person to be able to one help them and educate them on advocating, but also guide them and create the tools that we all understand in the creator economy.
Yeah, that sounds so useful. I think both to the creators and then also this ability to scale and be able to reach and help more people because this is an increasing problem. And you have both the experience as a creator and as a lawyer to be able to help. So it makes a lot of sense that this is a great time to create Social Docket.
Thank you, thank you. And something people always ask us, they're like, okay, well, I could use a ChatGPT or a Claude, and I'm like, yeah, you can. But the reason why people use a TurboTax over a tax professional is because they want to do it themselves. It's faster, it's more affordable, it's more accessible, and it allows you to have the software and the tool to walk you through your tax preparation without having to go through the hoops and the time and everything that it takes for having a tax professional. Same thing with Social Docket. Our goal is to give you the software, the tools, the education to walk you through to be able to get the best results from your contracts. Because a lot of lawyers, we think very reactive, right? We're learning, okay, well, there's a problem, we need to fix it. Our argument with Social Docket is the problem isn't there, let's make sure we don't have one. And if you
Yeah.
have one, at least you have enough knowledge and information to be able to lead you to the best results, whether it's professional or to handle it yourself, etc. That connection has really helped a lot of people understand, like, okay, why are you doing this and what is the importance? On top of the fact that you're only as good as your prompts when it comes to a lot of generic AI tools. The prompting is truly where the expertise lies, and you don't know what you don't know.
Prompting and the judgment of when do you stay with this prompt, when do you move to something else, when do you trust the results. So I think it's really great that you're able to coach people. And I hadn't thought of the TurboTax example, but that's a great parallel for something we've already been doing for many years.
Thank you.
So I want to shift gears a little bit and come back to something you said earlier, which is that wellness is a top priority for you. And I mean, it is for me as well, but you have such a busy schedule. You're a founder, a creator, you have, you are a lawyer as well, even if you're not actively practicing at this moment. How does a week actually look for you? And what are some of the practices that keep you grounded while you're also hustling this hard?
Yes, the first thing is I give myself grace. I think that's the number one thing that I try to focus on because as much as I try to stick to routines, and I'm pretty ritualistic, which is great, but there's going to be things, there's going to be outliers. There's going to be moments where maybe you need to spend a few more hours later in the evening talking to a friend, or pouring into someone else, or pouring into yourself where your schedule's a little off. But grace is like the root of everything that I'm doing. The second thing is my mornings are my mornings. I try not to take any calls or anything before 9 a.m., even though I'm up early, whether that's I'm doing my journaling, I'm devotional, I'm going to the gym, I'm fueling my body with a really nourishing breakfast, etc. Like, I'm just trying to make sure before I pour into others, I've already filled up my cup. Because every single time I wait, I'm like, you know what? I can do it midday. I look
Yeah.
up, it's 8 p.m. and I'm like, dang it, I did it again. So what I've learned over the years is go ahead and just do it first thing in the morning, even though it feels selfish, even though it feels like maybe you don't even need it that day. Maybe you wake up and you're like, oh, I'm killing it. I can get on calls at 7 a.m. I promise, just like do it as far as discipline, because those days that you need it, you just automatically do it because you've been doing it so long. Whether it's good days, bad days, neutral days, sticking to the morning ritualistic routine is so important. But the best morning routines happen at night. So also having a nighttime routine where you can wind down, you have either a candle, like something I've been doing lately is I have a candle that I light and my mind is like, oh, time to relax. And it shape shifts over time. And when you're really feeling stressed and chaotic, because let's be real, like I'm an early stage startup founder, there's days where it's like I just don't have it together. I have like a list of non-negotiable wellness things that I do, and I pick one and I go do it. It's like, oh, I'm chaotic, I'm not thinking up.
Yeah.
Let me pick one, go for a walk. Oh, let me pick one, let me order Uber Eats. Let me pick one, let me make me a coffee. And it just helps remove the decision fatigue that is usually the thing that's leading us to burnout.
I actually do that too. I've never seen anyone else do it, but I'm going to add Uber Eats and I'm going to add coffee to mine because I didn't think of that
Yeah,
before.
I love that.
That's so great. Yeah, I have walk, I have meditate, I have like go for acupuncture, go to the gym. But yeah,
Yes.
amazing. That is so cool
Mm-hmm.
because when you're in that, exhausted, frazzled, burned out state, you just
Mm-hmm.
need to do something to feel better, but you don't even have time or energy. It's like when you wait too long to order food and then you're too hungry to make a decision.
Exactly. And then you order something, you're like, I don't even want this. Or like, this isn't even
Yeah.
good. Or I'm like,
Yeah.
yes. So having a list really just helps. Oh, I love that yes,
Yeah,
it has made a difference. Because sometimes I'm like, oh, I know what I'm going to do. I don't need to write it down. And like, yeah, actually do need to point it out
you do
somewhere.
need. Yeah, you do. Fantastic. So I wanted to zoom out a little bit and talk about entrepreneurship in the big picture. So you are an entrepreneur now with Social Docket in terms of founding a company, but you've been an
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneur for a while, since college, actually, since you were a content creator.
Mm-hmm.
How has your thought process about full-time jobs evolved? And could you imagine a situation where you would take a full-time job again?
I never say never, just because one thing about it, God will humble me. So I never say never. But I don't foresee me ever doing a full time position, not in a traditional context. If I ever did, it could look like, let's say maybe Social Docket gets acquired and they want to hire me full time, something like that. But the more I think about it, and I've had like a few like long term contract positions like in firms, and that's kind of how I got to New York City, working at a law firm. And shortly after I started, I was like, even as a contractor part time, I love entrepreneurship. For me, it's about the journey of learning and how much I love being a student of life. And entrepreneurship has this challenge that no other job is able to really fulfill for someone that loves the challenge and the learning of life. So that's why I love being an entrepreneur. But I never say never. You never know. But for me,
Yeah.
I love being an entrepreneur. I love giving back. I love being able to change up my schedule when I need to. If my mom needs to talk, I can just drop things and call her. If my family needs something, I can just book a flight. That flexibility was really like my leading charge when I first quit, and it's still something that I appreciate today.
Yeah, that makes sense. The world is so unpredictable. We really do never know. But the thing about entrepreneurship is it has highs and lows. I've been an entrepreneur for many years myself, and that is one of the famous things about entrepreneurship. What are some of the things beyond the rituals on your list that help you ground in a low moment?
Honestly, and this is probably a little corny, but a pros and cons list. It's a classic and it works. And not just your average pros and cons list. I think a lot of times when we write down or we're journaling like what's happening, we still have a filter. For me, I try to get really down to the root. Like, act like no one's around, ignore whatever expectation you have of yourself, and write what your worry is, write what your fear is. If no one ever saw this piece of paper and you were down to the rawest version of yourself, what is it? And a lot of times it's, yes, it may suck and it may be scary, but it's not as bad as you think. And though when I write those things down, it really empowers me because it's like, if that's the worst that could happen, I can handle that. I've handled more in the past. Also for me, I'm really big on like statistics because it's like, well, I've been through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I'm still at 9. So it has to be a way for me to get through this as well. I already have a record showing that I've been through this, I've handled this, I've overcame this, I've had to do this, and things of that nature that really help me stay clear headed and just focus on like, this may really, really suck, but just like I got out of everything else, I'm going to get through this. And ignoring the outside voices and opinions and really staying locked in and in tune with your intuition. Also, therapy is great. Okay, I'm not against therapy. That's so important. But like, you and yourself and your intuition, when you really get in alignment there, like, you're a force to be reckoned with. It's an amazing feeling. I feel like that's really what has helped me over the several years, like the confidence of being true to who I am, my character, what I like, what I don't like, what I accept, what I don't accept. And I don't get it right every time. But as long as I'm like, okay, I know what my intuition is saying, I'm gonna try it. What's the worst that could happen? Also, something my mom always tells me, like, her life motto is, this isn't a trial run. Like, life is happening right now. So you're like, I'm going to put it 30 days away. Guess what's going to happen? 30 days are going to still go by. So I try to remind myself, okay, I get this one beautiful life. Let me make it as joyful, as happy, as challenging, as exciting. And it's still stressful, but finding a way to remember, like, life is happening now. This isn't a trial run. Just try it. Just do it.
Yeah, the journaling has helped me a lot. And there's something about just seeing it on paper. When you feel a fear, it feels so nebulous and all consuming. But when you actually write it down and get specific, you're like, oh, there may actually be a solution to this. And if not, we'll figure it out. I think the other piece that I really resonated with was about the intuition. You were one of the more intuitive leaders that I've come across. What are some practices that you use to connect with your intuition?
Silence. Silence. I do a lot in silence. And especially being on social media, I consume a lot naturally. Like, I just do. That's the realistic. I try not to consume as much as I content create, but hey, I'm not perfect. But for me, it's like being intentional about the times when I can just turn off everything. No podcast, no music, just silence. So if I'm walking around New York City, I may have my AirPod in, but I'm probably not listening to anything because I just want to think and just like listen to the sounds and just be in my own mind and see what comes up. Because a lot of times we're avoiding like whatever's happening in our mind by filtering with noise, music, podcasts, and we don't even know how we really feel. It's like, I might be stressed. It's like, no, you're not. You think you're stressed. You're actually fine, but you just have
Yeah,
all these distractions and noises around you. So silence has been golden for me. I'm also an only child, so maybe it makes it a little bit easier for me. I love being
me
alone. I
too.
love a little silence. Oh, period. So I feel like that has helped me a lot because you can easily get distracted, especially when you're an entrepreneur and you're seeing other people succeed or you're seeing other people go in a certain path and you're like, wait, I could do that too. But just because you can doesn't mean you should. So really just staying in alignment, staying in silence, and knowing what's actually true to where you are.
Yeah, that is true. So true for an entrepreneur, especially. There are a lot of outside opinions. Everyone has an idea about what you can build. And sometimes you want to receive all that input, but other times it is a distraction and you have to focus and hone in. I have not yet tried the AirPods while I'm walking down the street, but I think I will.
I love it because it still gives me, like, if I do want to play something, it's already in my ear. But it's just
Mhm.
like almost like allowing others to realize, like, don't talk to me. I'm kind of in the zone, but like I'm really not. I
Yeah.
love it. I really enjoy it. I do it a lot actually.
Amazing. I'm going to try that. So, last kind of area that I want to talk about is your advice for people who are listening who are maybe torn between doing something that's off the beaten path, whether that's a creative thing like content creation or entrepreneurship, but something that's a little bit different from the expectations on them or what they see their peers doing. What would you say to somebody who's struggling with that decision?
I would say whatever the thing is that feels non-traditional, go do it without creating a job out of it first. So when I'm really in a creative rut, I have to remind myself of where I began and why I'm doing what I do. I will take my camera, walk around the city or wherever I'm at if I'm traveling, and just start taking pictures and videos just of what's around me, of nature, and just like getting back into the reason behind why I started anything I started back in 2014, taking it back to the root of like this passion and this excitement and this hobby that I have, and realizing, okay, if I can do this, it removes the fear and the doubt and the cloud where it's like I don't have to make it this big, huge, large, intimidating thing that's like my forever life goal. Sometimes it's yes, you want to make your passion, your purpose, your job, but it doesn't always have to be in alignment. You can work a job that maybe you like enough, and that is going to be able to invest into your actual passions and purpose. They don't always have to be in alignment, and I think that can be a hard thing for a lot of people. And most of us, honestly, we're gonna have a job that, hey, they pay the bills. We're gonna have a passion and purpose that might be something next to it. But removing the expectation that this has to be your next big decision, your next big move. This has to work. I have to do it a certain way because even as I'm sharing my journey, it didn't end up how I thought it would end up. You couldn't have told, maybe I would have been a full-time YouTuber. Maybe I would have, who knows? I had no idea I would end up being a tech founder. So allow life to take you on a beautiful journey and try those hobbies without any expectation first. And then if you want to start to implement it, start to share it with people that you trust. Because a lot of times we can be so in our head about something and we're like, this is a bad idea, this is a good idea. Start to share it with people that know you, that trust, and that can give you a little bit more guidance and feedback on what you're building as well. And sometimes that could be the best experience because maybe they'll unlock something you didn't even know was there.
Yes. Knowing who to share it with and when you're ready for input is so important. And I think I also fall into that trap. I think we all do, of thinking that work has to be the ultimate passion and you have to monetize the thing you love. And you may actually just enjoy it more if it's not where your income is coming from. So I love that advice of taking that experiment first, seeing if it's a good fit, seeing if you want to grow it, seeing if there's a market for it before you dive in and try to make that your job.
Exactly. It's almost more important to do that first.
Hmm.
What you just said about once you make something your monetary once you make something a monetary value, it kind of changes your perspective of it and your perception of it. And it could make you not like the thing that actually is something you really enjoy. But once you add this expectation of like, oh, I have to get people to pay for this or I have to make money from this, sometimes it can be hard to still enjoy it if you haven't just tried it as a hobby first. So I love fitness. I love working out. I thought about being an instructor and then I realized
Hmm.
I actually just enjoy it. I don't have to. I don't have to make everything a side hustle. Especially as an entrepreneur, it can be hard. But just
Yeah.
enjoy it and have some things that are just your thing, that are just your hobby, that you just enjoy. That's just like a fun creative outlet. Because whenever I do something that's my creative outlet that I'm not having a side hustle all about, it's able to fuel the things that I am creating monetary value around. So it really does help kind of have a little separation sometimes.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, there's this temptation to turn everything into a job. I feel that way about yoga, for example. I love taking class. Should I teach as well? No, maybe yoga is just my place to connect with myself, and for now, that makes a lot of sense. So I think that's wonderful advice. So now, as we wrap, I wanted to ask if there's anything you're working on that you'd like to tell the audience about.
Yes, of course, Social Docket.
Yes.
So, something that I'm learning on this tech journey is the importance of talking about your thing. As a creator, I was so used to talking about brands things and other people's things, and because I'm promoting and I'm advertising, but being bold enough to say, like, Social Docket, that's my main focus right now. That's my priority. That's where I really want to make a difference and bridge this gap between law and the creator economy in so many different ways. And even though it's MVP and we're very beta and we're starting, you have to start somewhere. And I think a lot about like the Amazons and the Ubers where it was just like this smaller thing and now it's this larger big conglomerate. It's like that's what I want to build. I want to just focus on Social Docket. So if you're interested, we would love to have you. We're currently in beta. We have our group of founding members that are really just kind of cultivating what this is going to look like, helping us shape our next features and things of that nature. So definitely reach out, even if you just want to talk about it, get the experience, whether you're a founder. I love speaking to other founders. That's also something I'm realizing where we all kind of have the same experience in a different way. And I learn so much every conversation with fellow founders and even investors and even other influencers and things of that nature. Just having this dance about the creator economy and about tech and law and how they're all kind of intercepting, but like no one wants to really talk about it because it's like there's no way that law has anything to do with Instagram, but it does, and there's so much embedding happening. So I love having those conversations. So even if it's just a chat, I would love that.
Amazing. And where can people find you and find Social Docket to reach out?
Yes, I am Kameron Monet across all of the internet, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, LinkedIn. And then if you'd love to follow Social Docket's journey, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and socialdocket.ai is our website.
Amazing. Cameron, thank you so, so much. It's been such a delight having you here. I've learned so much and I've had a blast. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I absolutely love this, and I cannot wait to see you continue to grow.